Tonight's entry, pull up a chair. The story you are about to live did not happen, but it could have. Step into the page. You wake up to the sound of horse hooves outside your window. The year is 1888, and you find yourself in the midst of London's Whitechapel district. Fog rolls in, shrouding the streets in a damp, impenetrable mist. You try to remember how you got here, but your memories are hazy. A small, cryptic note on your bedside table reads, "They are watching, be careful." You look around the room, taking in the sparse furnishings and the single, flickering gas lamp. The air is thick with the smell of coal smoke and decay. You hear the murmur of voices from the street below, the sound of hawkers calling out their daily specials. But beneath the familiar sounds of city life, you sense an undercurrent of fear. You step out into the chill morning air, wrapping your coat tightly around you. The streets are narrow and winding, lined with crumbling tenements and makeshift shops. You see people hurrying to and fro, their faces pinched with worry. Rumors of a serial killer have been circulating, and the locals are on edge. You stop to buy a newspaper from a street vendor, and the headlines leap out at you. Another murder in Whitechapel. The details are sketchy, but the tone is unmistakable. Fear and panic are gripping the city. You fold the paper under your arm and continue on your way, trying to make sense of your surroundings. But every face you see seems to hold a secret, and you can't shake the feeling that you're being watched. You come across a small, unassuming building with a sign that reads, "Lodgings." You push open the door, and a bell above it lets out a tired clang. The interior is dimly lit, with a narrow stairway leading up to the rooms. You approach the desk, where a gruff-looking man is sitting with a ledger open in front of him. He looks up at you, his eyes narrowing. "What can I do for you?" he growls. You explain that you're looking for a place to stay, and he eyes you warily. "I might have a room available," he says finally, "but it's not cheap and it's not for the faint of heart." He hands you a key, and you take it, feeling a sense of trepidation. As you turn to go up the stairs, you notice that one of the doors on the landing is locked, with a sign that reads, "Do not enter." You spend the day exploring the city, trying to get your bearings. But every step you take seems to lead you deeper into the heart of darkness. You hear whispers of a second body, found mutilated in a back alley. The police are stumped, and the killer seems to be always one step ahead. You start to feel a sense of unease, as if you're being drawn into the killer's game. You quicken your pace, trying to lose yourself in the crowds. But the streets seem to be shifting and twisting, leading you back to the same familiar landmarks. You start to wonder if you'll ever be able to escape the labyrinth of Whitechapel. And then you see her, a woman with a pale face and a look of terror in her eyes. She grabs your arm, pulling you into a nearby alleyway. "Please," she whispers, "you have to help me. I think I'm next." You try to calm the woman down, but she's beyond consolation. She tells you that she's been receiving strange messages, warning her to leave the city. But she can't leave, she's trapped, just like the other victims. You start to realize that there's more to the killings than meets the eye. There's a pattern, a twisted logic that underlies the brutality. You begin to suspect that the killer is not just a mindless monster, but a calculating predator. And you start to wonder if you're just a pawn in their game. The woman's eyes lock onto yours, and you see a glimmer of desperation there. "Please," she whispers again, "you have to believe me, I'm not crazy." But as you look into her eyes, you start to wonder if anyone in this city is truly sane. You decide to investigate further, to follow the trail of clues that might lead you to the killer. You scour the streets, talking to locals and gathering information. But the more you learn, the more you realize that you're in over your head. The killer is always one step ahead, leaving a trail of breadcrumbs that lead nowhere. You start to feel like you're being herded, pushed towards some unknown destination. And then you receive a message, delivered to your doorstep in the dead of night. It's a simple note with a single sentence: "Meet me at the old windmill on the outskirts of town. Come alone." You feel a shiver run down your spine as you read the words. You know that you shouldn't go, that it's a trap. But you also know that you can't ignore it, that you have to see this through to the end. You make your way to the windmill, your heart pounding in your chest. The building looms above you, its sails creaking in the wind. You push open the door, and a musty smell wafts out. You step inside, your eyes adjusting to the darkness. And then you see a figure standing in the shadows. It's the woman from the alleyway, her eyes black as coal. She's not alone, there's someone else with her, someone who's been hiding in the shadows. The figure steps forward, its face twisted into a grotesque grin. You try to run, but your feet feel rooted to the spot. The figure starts to laugh, a sound that's like nothing you've ever heard before. And then everything goes black. You wake up, your head throbbing with pain. You're back in your lodgings, the room spinning around you. You try to remember what happened, but your memories are hazy. You look around the room, taking in the familiar sights. But something's off, the window is open, and the curtains are blowing in the wind. You get out of bed, stumbling towards the window. And that's when you see it, a figure, standing in the shadows across the street. It's a woman, her face pale and her eyes black as coal. She's watching you, waiting for you to make your next move. And then you hear the sound of footsteps echoing up the stairs. Someone else is coming, someone who's been drawn into the same twisted game. The cycle continues, and you're just a pawn in a much larger game. Another entry, another life that was not yours, until next time.